Okay, yes, this is my face, and now Charles Bibleser will explain why my face is like that. Deputy Editor of the News Today, good evening.
Hello, Lucy.
Okay, come on, really? He is not making fun of people, and the other one is really pro-refugees. This is like, really, bring it on.
Theater of the absurd, some might say. The Donald may have crossed a line, and we all know that may I say that, and it's a fine line if there even exists a line at all. There's a new poll out by Reuters Ipsos that shows that he's down about 12 points amongst Republicans in the last week.
In the last week.
After what he said. So apparently you're able to denigrate Muslims, refugees, etc., but it crosses the line once you go to physical disabilities.
It's like he's behind the line. He's like, if the line is here, he's like all over the line.
He's certainly pushed the boundaries of what's acceptable, but it seems as though people might be pushing back a little bit. So he was at about 43% last week in this particular poll by Reuters Ipsos, and now he's at 31%. The interesting news is he's still double anyone else. So you had Carson at about 15 points, and then you had your Cruz, Rubio, and Bush's kind of the third tier.
Explain to me this thing about Ben Carson going to Jordan, going to refugee camps and telling them what? You know what? You stay here. You don't come to us. We don't want to see you.
Well, that's exactly the thing.
Here, it's okay.
He goes for the photo op, but he doesn't want to accept the individuals. So Ben Carson is now running scared, in my opinion. He's really dropping in the polls, and I think that he tried to pursue some kind of avenue to boost his image while still maintaining conservative, even evangelical principles, basically because that's where his support is coming from. A lot of it has dissipated, going to Ted Cruz instead, who's now polling second in Iowa, which is very interesting, in fact.
So let's talk about the Democratic, because it's like, I know that they're less like interesting, they're more boring, but we have to.
It's very boring, besides the fact, and now I think Hillary has really established herself as the firm #1 candidate. I don't think that there's any chance that anyone is going to really challenge her. Bernie is struggling now in New Hampshire. He had to win, in my opinion, one of the first two primary states, which are Iowa and New Hampshire. Hillary looks like she's got momentum in both. Unless Bernie comes out on top in one of them, Hillary's going to have a romp to the nomination.
What are the chances that Bernie, in some, let's say, point, he will say, you know what,
calling it quits,
and that's it?
I don't see that he would, because he's got a good base, which has generated a lot of financing for him, and as well, there's no one really else, so he can really ride the wave all through the primary season to the very end, and hope for Clinton to really slip up or have some kind of major gaffe.
So if I need you to do some predictions for next week, do you think that Donald Trump will drop the numbers, or he will stay?
I'm very skeptical. Donald has a very solid 20 to 25% base that seems to vote for him irrespective. But as you see with that extra 15%-ish, those are Republican voters that could potentially vote for another candidate. They're not set on Donald, and if he continues to act in certain manners that one would expect of a high school student, they could realistically shift their support to establishment figures.
We haven't spoken about Rubio. One word about Rubio?
I have two. Like him.
Oh, Charles Bibleser, you're not supposed to say that you
I gotta say, I really see him as the establishment figure that could really come out of the pack.
Charles Bibleser.
Lucy?
Okay, I will see you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, you